Here's a letter from a lady who we are going to call Flower.
Okay now.
Okay,
Stop now.
Flower. Flower says, "Hi Terence, it's me, Flower. I'm the wife of Mr. Flower, who keeps on messaging you. I want some advice about our relationship. We are almost married 1 year and 2 months." I think she means we are married almost 1 year and 2 months. "But you know, he likes to drink, and the most I'm worried about, every time he gets drunk, he says a lot of bad words against me, and anything he doesn't know how to control if he is drunk. I'm scared of him every time he's drunk. He is so really scary. What should I do?" Let's look at the next part. We gave a little advice on that, but anyway, it said, "Yeah, I'm really scared to go home now because I know what he'd do to me. He is really scary. I stay with my auntie now. Thank you." Now I'm not going to say the next part because it might give the other half a clue of who we're talking about. Okay, but anyway, so Miss Flower, there's no good news in this. Sorry, if you're scared to go home because of, and I'm quoting you, because of what he will do to me, then you're in trouble. I know that you've been married for a year and 2 months, I know, as you say, but there's no good news here, because if a man is getting drunk and then starting to be abusive, not that you don't know this, but you're in trouble. And you're in trouble because abuse by verbal means will, even without the drink, will eventually lead to physical abuse. And now I'm not being dramatic now, but if you introduce drunk into the question, there's a really serious problem here, and it might be a terminal thing, because if abuse starts and the man is under the influence of drink, sorry, this might be a one-way ticket for you. And just in case you don't know that terminology in English, he could lose control and kill you.
Yeah.
This is not, don't be misled by Beth having her crazy wig on. We're taking this very seriously, and if I were you, I would not be going home, because as soon as you have alcohol introduced into the mix, it's a very bad dish that you are cooking up, and he's not going to be able to control himself. People can't it sounds like they always say that there's a good drunk and a bad drunk. Well, okay, the good drunk is one that gets sleepy and starts laughing a lot, and then finally you find him asleep in a corner. That's a good drunk, if there is such a thing. The bad drunk is the one that starts abusing people, and who knows where that will lead. And in the privacy of your own home, it's not a good thing. So you're wise to stay with your auntie, and you might have to make some very, very serious re-evaluation of your life at this point. But other people, as we always do, the whole idea of our doing an advice section is that other people can comment, and these other people, some of them, what you're going through will resonate with them, in that they may well have suffered this for themselves. Living with somebody who gets angrily drunk is a special trip, and it's not one that you should embark on if you possibly can. So Beth.
Yeah, you are in a very difficult situation, because it's about abuse, and there's a lot of form of abuse. It could be emotional, that's what you said, that she's talking to you badly in verbal, which is emotional, which is very difficult, because...
Well, it's also verbal, isn't it?
Yeah, verbal, emotional, which is not good in a relationship. I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm hoping, I'm hoping that you're gonna resolve that issue, right? But if he is drunk, it's better if you stay away. Stay away, and then once the alcohol is out on his mind, out of his body, then you're gonna talk to him and gonna explain to him the situations. Don't argue with him when he's in drunk, because his mind is not there. The person who you married, who is very sweet, is not there anymore. The one inside in his body, in his mind, is already the dark one. So better for now, once he's not drunk, talk to him and raise your concern, and at the same time, if the marriage can be resolved, try to resolve it. But if you think that the marriage is not worth it, then don't what do you call that, don't settle yourself for
Don't
that.
risk.
That you don't risk.
The other thing that you might consider, as Beth has suggested, talking to him when he's sober. There are two different people, like Beth has also said. These are two different people. The sweet person that you married and loved is actually not. He's left the building when the alcohol takes over and he starts being angry. There's another darker thing that's emerging. But when you get him sober, depending on how habitually he gets drunk, perhaps you should take someone with you when you have this talk. Someone that he is at least comfortable with being there when you're talking about personal things like your marriage going bust. So, talk, but unless you're absolutely sure that he's not had a few drinks, you need someone with you, I think, to guarantee your safety. It can't be another man, it'll have to be another woman who is willing to go with you.
Yeah, but think your safety first. Think your safety, because there's a lot of horror story about it, right? And you said that you're very scared because it's always been verbal, and I think your letter also is an eye-opening also to others. That before you jump up into relationship to a foreigner or any relationship, but since we're talking about Filipina foreigner relationship, always put in mind to other Filipinas before entering into a relationship, knows that person first. Knows if he got a lot of vices. Not just because he's a foreigner, right? He can provide me, he can bring me from where I am now and bring me to a nice place. Don't think in that way, but think on what is the best for you, rather than on material things. Do think on the thing. Think which is more on your goodness, right? Not just think, I'm gonna marry him, I'm gonna rush.
In other words, it's not just about money and security.
It's about
safety.
It
is about security, but in this case, it can turn very bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, because I'm usually a very optimistic person. But as soon as alcohol comes in, and as soon as anger, and as soon as abuse starts coming, whether verbal or emotional starts, the guilt starts, then the verbal starts, and then as surely as night follows day, the physical abuse will follow the verbal abuse. It's just statistically, it seems to be a fact. So you got to go on worst case scenario when you're thinking about being with him the next time.
Yeah, and at the same time, remember at the beginning you're very in love, right? You're very in love. I'm gonna marry this man, I'm gonna marry that, right? But a few months, few years later, he changed, right? And if that guy or that partner is starting to be abusive, the love will fade, right?
Well, yeah,
the love will fade.
It has faded, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has faded, and sometimes it's better to get out on the relationship rather than to risk your safety, right? So it's the best thing to do before entering into the marriage is just consider if that you love that person, but not just about love, but make sure that you're safe, make sure that he respect, and at the same time make sure that he will not be changed, right? And try to find out the background of that person, right? Because it's not about 1 month, 1 year, 2 years. It's about a lifetime. And when you said about lifetime, it's about I know there's no relationship that is perfect, right? There's always some ups and downs. But the important is the both of you knows how to reconcile. Both of you knows where to start. Where should I should slow down and let him talk to me, right? And let him resolve it. Both of both.
There's an ideal scene that can come
Yeah.
from this, but it depends on him being able to admit that he has a problem with the booze.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get him to understand that, not an easy thing because you're speaking through a person's addiction, but if you can get him to understand that he does have a problem and that problem can turn very bad and it will only get worse, So maybe you can get him to get help.
Yeah, in
And
psychological.
if you can do that, there are certainly Australia will have an Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's a place that you can go, and you can go with him and you can support him on that. But that will mean stopping drinking. Now, you said that you're scared of what he will do to you. Now, that seems to me to be a red flag. It seems to me a little bit more than that he will start being angry with you. It seems to be another case of that there's more to it that you haven't actually told you. But if he has hit you, gotta leave. Because
Yeah.
if it goes far enough, I know that this is a big if, but if it goes far enough,
Think
you're
your
in grave
safety,
danger.
because it's gonna be danger because that person that once he's drunk is not your husband anymore, and if you could resolve it to therapy, to psychology, if you go to the marriage counseling, you just tell your husband, look, I want to work this relationship, and having alcohol in this relationship didn't help. If you want me to stay with you, right? But don't tell that when he's drunk because possible he's gonna stab you. Okay?
Well, let's. We're trying to keep away from the techniques that he might use.
Talk to him calmly when he's not in drunk. For example, you've been loving, right? You get me? When you've been loving each other, you tell him, look, you're very good to me, you're very loving to me, but when you're drunk, you're like an animal, like that. You tell him like that,
Yeah, try to, honey, try to stay away from the point of, hey, you're an animal when you're getting drunk. I can't stand an animal.
Yeah, because in our case of Terence, we also have a little argument, right? So when Terence ratatat, okay, Terence ratatatatatatat,
Why is
right?
it always my fault?
It's just an example, darling. But in our case, right? It's real. When Terence ratatatatat, okay, I said okay, right? So now I said, okay, it's your time. I did.
You do a bit of rat-a-tatting
So when he's
yourself.
ratatat, he's like, okay. So I said, okay, it's your time, ratatat, right? But when the two of you, and he's like, layat, and I said, oh, ratatat, where's the ratatat? So it's time for me to hit him, right? So that's how I did. So I said, oh, you've been ratatat, and now you said, right? So that's try if the relationship will work out, then try to work out. But if the relationship is not
we're focusing on the fact that it could be dangerous.
Yeah, if it's gonna be
really
dangerous,
what we're
then
focusing on.
it's better if you stay out rather than you're gonna be in the television.
You're
right?
not going to be able you're not going to be able to reason with someone who is drunk.
Yeah, because there's a lot of news in the television.
Over thousands of years of man and women being together, being drunk is like being married to two people, whether you're man or a woman. A drunk partner is not just one person, it's two.
Yeah. So that's my advice for you code name
Flower.
Flower.
Okay.
Almost. Yeah,
Good
it's
luck.
just a
Good
ragma.
luck, and
And
please let us know.
yeah, no, I think pray for guidance, and at the same time, pray for your husband. There's nothing impossible in prayer. Yeah, so have a good day. Thank you so much and wish you luck. Have a good day and God bless. Bye-bye.